Welcome back to My Creative Chronic Life, and today we are back with another episode from the Analogue Hour. This is episode 2 of our needlepoint / cross stitch series, because I'm not quite sure what this is actually going to be, but we will start off with what I have purchased. In my last video I said that I would be most likely popping into Hobbycraft, and I did, so I decided to pick up a few things. First off, I picked up this knit and stitch mini embroidery kit, and it was on offer for £1 to the best of my knowledge, and it comes with the instructions. It also comes with the DMC thread that you need, a needle, and the canvas itself. I saw it for £1 and I thought, you know what, I might as well pick it up to give it a try. And then I also picked up the Women's Institute 12 mini crossed stitch kits, and you've got 12 different variations on there, and I just think it's super cute. So before we talk about this, I'd like to talk about this one. I've already opened it because I wanted to have a little go, if I'm honest. I'll show you what it looks like. Oh, there's my needle minder. So you get the instructions, which is the hot air balloon, a thread key, and then you also get a needle, and then it gives you a diagram of the various different stitches it will take to do this, and then your thread practically comes like this. So I decided that I wanted to see what it would feel like, and it's already printed out on this kind of canvas, but you can see that the canvas is literally coming apart. This is one of the smallest. Well, I have a smaller hoop, but I didn't want to put it in there because it was too small. But even without that, the edges have started to fray. The material in itself has puckered. I decided to go against the grain and did like these little can't think of the word of the stitch now, but there's a particular stitch name for them. And if I'm honest, maybe I don't know enough about it, but I really detested it. I just hated the feel of it, the way that it wouldn't go through what I wanted it to. That even now, after adding in so many stitches, you can see there are still gaps in the canvas, because when you pop the needle through, it almost expands the canvas. So unfortunately for me, I don't think I'll be purchasing this again. I just feel like, even though yes, it was £1 and I felt like it's something to help, I thought it would be a good way for me to see what my stitches are like, obviously because I've done embroidery in the past, but not necessarily something like this. But unfortunately, this is definitely not for me. Next, we will go straight into the 12 mini cross stitches. I have already opened this, but we will go back in. I like the idea of it being a box that we can keep, and it's cute as well. I think once I'm done with it, I will give it to one of my nieces. So it comes with a little booklet. It's got instructions in there, and this is exclusive to Hobbycraft. You can get the Women's Institute items over on Amazon. I know I've looked. This set was really cute. It gives you some how to cross stitch and how to do stitches, etc. It gives you some, where you can tag people, and then I suppose we'll go one by one. We've got a cupcake, and these are all individually packed, which is great because it means if you're going somewhere or you're on the go, you can just pop one of these into your project bags, and if you realize you finish one, you need to do the next one, you can start. We've got a teacup. We have a knitting kind of motif icon. It says you can. We then have a honey pot, which I think will be quite simple because it will just be simple cross stitch in one color. In hindsight, I probably should have started with that one. We have sponge cake. I've been really craving Victoria sponge cake. Always growing, which will be nice to see how I feel with actually using cross stitch in letters. A sewing machine, little flower heart, and then we've got We Rise by Lifting Others, and a box version. And then there's one more which is in my project bag, and I will show you. I probably will have to double check the price for this. This entire kit, which is a 12 pack, is £16 from Hobbycraft. And I will run through what's in each of these in a moment. Now, for £16, you'd think, well, oh, that's quite expensive, but in reality it isn't, because in every single one you get a needle and the thread that you need, you get stitching fabric and instructions, and then a minimum of 25p from this sale will be given to the National Federation of Women's Institutes. So I feel like that's always a good shout when you are giving back to others. And I just found that rather than actually purchasing or creating my own, like I said in the previous video, I wanted to really give cross stitch a go. So now let's look at my project bag. I'll just pop these away. I love how compact everything is, because I feel like that's what you need sometimes when it comes to projects. And then all you do is close the little box, and it's got such cute imagery on the side. Little tea room, which I think is wonderful. And this is my current project bag. I picked these up 3 in a pack for the range. I needed a larger one so I could store my medication for when I'm going to the hospital, and then I had this teeny one left over, and I thought, you know what, this is perfect because it can go in the back of my wheelchair if I've got an appointment, or if I just want to craft in the living room. So I decided to put together a little kind of project bag, and I'll tell you what's in there. Our project bag, we then have our needle minder, which I've just found in the other project bag. We also have a tape measure, which I found I needed this time round. We have a Micron, Pigma Micron in the 005. And we also have a teeny tiny pair of scissors. So this is the final one in the pack, and it is called Jam. And I decided to start with this one. I wish in hindsight I'd probably done the honey one, just because of trying to figure out everything related to the actual, you know, stitching size. So this is what it looks like on the inside. It says 27 by 40 stitches, 3 times 3. The arrows on the chart point to the center of the design. Now, I found this quite difficult to do, and I'll explain in a moment. You've got cross stitch here, and you've got some symbol. Then it says the 2 strands. Then underneath you've got another kind of back strand, which is just 1 strand, which is fine. And then the back is plain. And then this is how the thread comes. Let's see if I can untangle it. So you have the little symbols, and then you've got the thread, which is tagged either side. I have seen people online where they just poke the little needle through and they're able to dismantle the thread. For some reason I couldn't do that with this one. I don't know what type of thread this actually is. Is it DMC? Is it just like some sort of standard thread? I'm not quite sure, but I like the fact that it's labelled quite easily, and then you just can store it back in there without kind of making a mess. I've already used a couple of strands, so we'll pop that back in. So this is the entire size of the canvas now. I found instantly it was almost starting to like unravel, so what I did was I used some washi tape just to stick it down. I found this so confusing because it tells you that the size of this is 3, so this entire size is 3 by 3. So it's not that the jam is 3 by 3, it's the actual square is 3 by 3. But then what they give you is a 4 by 4. So then you have to leave yourself the right amount across the edge, which is fine. But when you don't really count, where with embroidery it's a plain canvas, so you just draw your design on, and then, or let's say you decide you want to do it from scratch, usually it's a drawn design, and then you work in thread counts. It's not necessarily counting, whereas this I instantly found really frustrating. So you can see here I've used the micron to add like little marks. I wonder if that's going to be too bright, but I managed to do a couple of stitches, and I mean a couple of stitches. If it doesn't show up quite well, I will add in a picture for you in a moment. And overall, I just found it extremely stressful to try and get the entire jam within that area. So where I've started basically is you count down your rows, but you also count down your rows. Can you see how at the side it's only showing 2 rows, then a single row, expecting it to be a grid. Now I would presume a 3 by 3 would be an equal grid all over. So then I had to try to do a border, then count how many stitches in, find the middle side, and then find the corner, which again still didn't work out well. So what I did was I just tried to find the middle to the best I could, and then drew with this micron pen like the first, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, and then I thought I'd make my way down. But as I am working through this or looking at it, I've been looking and thinking it doesn't feel right to me. So what I've decided to do is see if I can calculate all the way to the bottom, but to me there doesn't seem like there's enough stitches. That's the first problem I encountered. Now I don't know if that's just me as a human being that doesn't understand cross stitch, and I also found that, I know maybe with other colors it would be quite vibrant, but I found that instantly it doesn't, I don't know whether it's the thread, but the stitches are not neat, even though you can see that the thread is still together. This little pin needle minder is from Amazon. I shared in my previous video. So overall I'm confused, and the more I look at cross stitch, the more I think I'm realizing I really want to do needlepoint. I'm not particularly enjoying just crossing over stitches. I would love to be able to have a variation of different textures, different stitches, and I've been watching Madison on YouTube and Tate and Briar on YouTube, and the more I watch them, the more it really makes me feel like, okay, this is what I want to get into. Now when I was having a look around Hobbycraft, I did find that there were some needlepoint mesh which was quite thick, and I don't know what size it was because they didn't specify, so I left that. I did also have a look at all of the DMC thread, and again I held off on purchasing anything just because I thought that this would give me a better feel to thread, presuming that this would be DMC thread. I don't know if it is or isn't, so again I'm frustrated that I didn't just pick up one color and just do like a practice run. I mean, I can always go back again, it's not a problem, but I just feel like I can't know the difference if it's me as a person with the technique, or is it the thread itself that's not making it look so pristine. And then the other thing as well is that, is it because I'm using such a small tiny mesh? Then I was thinking, well hang on a minute, why don't I just use my 14 count Ada to just do one of these and then take it from there? I can do it on a bigger canvas, I can give myself a little bit more space, I can obviously start on a middle ground because I've measured it myself. For example, I did a 4x4 or a 3x3. I could then find the middle ground easily and then copy it that way, and then hopefully I should be able to give myself a better chance at creating something rather than just sorting it all out. And I did 2 stitches and not that I gave up, I just found it really annoying because the stitches just look mucky. And again, it could be the thread, maybe once I get to the red part, I'm not quite sure. If you are a needlepoint cross stitch person, please comment below and let me know what your thoughts are. Am I doing something wrong? Have I picked the wrong project to start with? Should I have just gone and stuck with doing my own design? I really just wanted to do like a simple motif with mine and my husband's initials on. It's our wedding anniversary at the end of the month, and I just thought, you know what, next month, sorry. And I thought it'd be nice to just create like a little key ring like they have with needlepoint. They have ornaments over. I might just do that anyway. But again, the thread part is the frustrating part. So unless I specifically order some DMC thread, I'm not quite sure. And then the other thing with that is I like needlepoint. I love the way that it feels. I feel like their canvas is much more sturdier, and they also have a lot of trim around them, but then they use this kind of wooden board where they put pins into it, which is sturdier. But again, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't feel like I want to purchase more items for a project I'm not sure I'm going to enjoy. This is mainly so that I could do it in bed. My aim was to start enjoying the hobby, and then when I am in hospital and I will probably be recovering, but in between recovering, I like to keep my mind busy, with reading or watching shows or something. But when you're in a hospital, you can't quite watch something. So I thought, at least with this, then I could have a hobby to switch between. So I probably got about another month and a bit. So I'm hoping by that point I will have decided if needlepoint is for me, or is it cross stitch for sure, or maybe a hybrid if I figure out how to do this. Definitely I'm swaying more towards needlepoint. So if you know somebody who needlepoints, or you have a channel, or across other social media accounts, please do tag me, because I really need to ask some questions. Like, I know there's like 13 count canvas, it's like a plasticky one, but I don't like the ones that have the really large holes on them. I like them to be quite small and compact. Maybe that's my problem. But also I've seen that needlepoint, you actually paint the design on there, and I'm fine with that. I've got markers, I've got paint, I could do that if I wanted to, but I just want, what I ideally would love to have is a kit that's already good to go. I know the Caterpillar something or the other, I'll see if I can remember to put the name up, they basically have their own cross stitch, but the only thing I found over on Etsy is like plus £80. It's not going to come for weeks on end, and I feel like, what if I hate it? I don't think I will, but what if I hate it? Then what? Money down the drain. I want to be able to outsource some hobbycraft, use what I have, design something, or maybe like paint something on there and be done with it, and just see if I really enjoy it or not. I need a hobby that is going to visually keep my mind going, and something that I can attach to like an embroidery hoop, and I can do it with one hand on the days where pain is quite a lot. And sometimes with being unwell, having diabetic neuropathy, you need to rest your eyes. So I need something else. Sometimes I enjoy knitting, but that's also a hobby that forces me to stop when I'm in pain. Whereas if I've got like an embroidery hoop, which I have when I have a wooden one, I could just attach that to the table, add the hoop in, and use one hand. So I would really love some advice. I would love some of your thoughts. I would love to know if you have a suggestion on which you prefer, needlepoint or cross stitch. And if you are a needlepointer or a cross stitch person, please give me some advice. I desperately need it. I feel like this little setup is pretty cute, what I've got going on right now, and I feel like maybe if I switch to my 14 count Ada, I'm going to do a little bit more research on there. But I feel like this is probably all that you need, isn't it? Tape measure, some scissors, a pen, you've got your threader, you've got your needle minder, and then I did send my husband out to go and buy me some plain masking tape, just because this washi tape was really awful in terms of trying to organize and attach it to the side. It was really frustrating. So let me know in the comment box below, or DM me privately by all means, because I'm getting to the point where I feel like this is going to be another hobby that I pop on the shelf, and I really don't want to. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comment box below, and of course you can always find me across all my social media accounts at www.mycreativechroniclife.co.uk, my website, where I share on YouTube. I share on Mondays, Thursdays and Saturdays around 10 p.m. bar this video, which you'll be getting late. I've had a lot on this morning, and I just decided that I would take my time in filming and just post on the day rather than, you know, worry myself over the weekend. And I normally post, I've switched up my email issue, which is the weekly comfort issue, to rather than being on a Monday to be on a Wednesday, because Wednesdays are pretty much days where it's either, you know, filming days, editing days, resting days, depending on what I've got going on. So if you'd like to join my weekly comfort issue, the links are always in the description box below. And then we get our short stories on a Tuesday, and then Fridays are reading reviews, and Sundays are blog posts. So there's always something for everybody throughout the week. Well, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye bye.